day, good people, and welcome to Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. I am your host, Michelle Dawes Birt, and I am always super excited to be here with you. It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood here in Atlanta. We had some storms and some rain come through last night, kind of washed everything off. But now today, the flowers are blooming, the grass is greener, there's a crispness in the air. It's kind of nice. It feels great. We're just happy to be here. Just super excited to be here, as always. I first want to thank all of the new listeners that are leaning in for the first time. Thank you so much for taking some time to check us out for this afternoon. Listen, let me give you a little bit about what Real Chicks Rock is all about. We're all about creatively collaborating to raise awareness regarding issues that impact women, and we do it by community service, public speaking, and we've been doing it through this podcast. In the month of April, we crossed over to our 9th year of podcasting, of having these conversations. And I'm always excited because not only do we talk about issues that impact us, some serious things, political views, things like that, teaching, educational system, our health, real estate, money management, wealth, and all that, and legacy building, all those critical things. But then I get an opportunity to talk to people that I like. that I like and admire. And really, they have made significant contributions in the Atlanta area based on what it is that they love to do. And today is no different. Today, my topic is a conversation with the incomparable Khari Cabral Simmons. Hello.
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm fantastic today. I'm so happy to be with you today. Yeah. Wonderful. This is amazing. Right? Likewise, you beam all the time. You already know. Wherever I see you.
It takes one to know one.
I'll take that.
It takes one to know one. Listen, we're going to get right in because you're a man that has covered a lot of ground musically and as an artist. So I want to make sure that we get right into it.
Absolutely. Okay, so my childhood looks something like this. Born in New York City.
Yeah.
After New York City is just New York City with a young child with my parents who are both from the South. My mom from Houston, my dad from New Orleans.
Yeah.
So then after months of me being born, when we moved back in with grandparents, my dad finds a job in Los Angeles. And then, so Los Angeles is me from 3 years old to 10 years old.
Okay.
From 10 years old up to about junior year of high school is Princeton, New Jersey.
Back on the East Coast.
Back on the East Coast. And then I started Morehouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about you as a kid. Now you got a little East Coast and you got West Coast. What was the musical landscape for you as a kid?
So the musical landscape for me, and I'll divide it by these two places because each one, looking back, is very different, and really, I guess each significant in its own way. My dad was an attorney, and he was an attorney for MCA.
Okay.
Right.
Record label.
Yes, the record label. Yep. Record label entertainment division. Says he also worked in the movie division. And that was during a lesser talked about time when labels were all opening black music divisions. After the success of Motown and Stax of everything in the 60s, now it's the 70s, everybody wants a black music division.
Okay.
So my dad came in during that time, and he was around the Clarence Avants and around LeBaron Taylor, around Quincy Jones and all these, and all these things. So there were always records being brought home. So there was always a Steely Dan record. There was always, the Whispers and all these other things, of course, that you just collect, these promo records. So I had music all around then. I also had, in between my parents, my house, and my friend's house, my godbrother Eddie and his mother, who was always playing all the good, like Evelyn Champagne King, all the Kashif, right? So hearing all that. So yeah, exactly. Yes, absolutely. Kashif. I could do the whole show on Kashif if I had to. So that's really where I agree. So that's really where that all grew. Now, when I went to Princeton, New Jersey and moved there, a couple of things happened. The main one was I had somebody who lived nearby me who suggested that we start a band. Now, that was the first thing. we should start a band. Yeah, let's start a band. Okay. Well, I play keyboard already.
Right.
Man, why don't you start playing bass? And I was like, you know what? Yeah, sure.
Just like
Bass.
that.
Just like that.
Wow.
With the intention of starting a band.
Okay.
And this was a culture there in New Jersey, and this is the same place that spun out a couple of sort of like offshoot Grateful Dead jam band kind of people. One band called Blues Traveler, another got popular called Spin Doctors.
Yeah, I remember
Right,
them.
right. Yep.
Yeah, they
so
got big in the
they
early
got
90s.
big in the
Once
90s.
video.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. So they went to the same high school as me. So I was
Really?
always looking at those bands, and then to me, that was, oh, that's the next step for me, is to do that. So that's how that really developed in my childhood.
Spin Doctors had a favorite song. Just go ahead now.
Just go ahead now.
That was
Yeah,
their
yeah, yeah. Oh,
hottest
yeah.
one, and
Oh,
Blues
yeah.
Traveler was
That's
with the
right.
harmonica,
Yeah.
kind of that bluesy feel. I'm with you. I'm with you all the
Come
day.
on and
I'm
know
with you.
something.
Yeah,
Come on
I
and pay
know.
attention
Yeah,
over here.
yeah. That
Yes,
was
John
good.
Popper with the
Yes,
harmonica. Yes,
with the
ma'am.
harmonica.
Come
And
on.
again, that during that time, we wouldn't have known of them if it wasn't the help of video, because MTV was popping at that time, and they played everything.
Yes, they did.
You know, everything from hip hop to
Absolutely.
pop to heavy metal.
Absolutely.
The only thing they really didn't touch was country per se.
Yeah,
But anything
right.
else, they
But
got
everything
it.
else,
Yeah.
no, they were in it. And that's what
Absolutely.
MTV
That's
was
how
back
I knew
then.
about REM,
Yeah.
right? And they were big
Absolutely.
during that era.
No,
right?
that
Losing My
exactly.
Religion,
They're
that whole
really
thing.
kind of a part of that
Exactly.
similar movement in the 90s.
Exactly.
Of that, yeah, of like not the glammed out rock band, but this more, it wasn't grunge, right? It wasn't quite that, but they were doing something else. But yeah, I put REM right in with them, yeah.
So you're starting this band just because somebody said, hey, let's
start a band. And I loved music. So it's like, hey, yeah, let's get into that and have a band, because that's what I love.
How old were you around this time?
Well, when I started playing bass and my friend suggested it, I was 12 or 13 years old. Yeah, so it was 7th grade, because I started playing bass, and a month or two later we played a talent show, playing some 3-chord rock and roll stuff, and it was a rock and roll town. All the kids there were into classic rock, right?
Okay.
So they were all into Cream, Led Zeppelin, Grateful Dead, this kind of, exactly. Yes, they were. Yes,
okay.
exactly.
Maybe
they were
some
into
Stones, or that was too much.
all the way the Stones.
All the way to
That's
the
what they were
Stones.
into.
Okay.
But for me, I was a Prince fan. So whenever I practiced bass, I was playing along to Prince records. So I put on 1999 album, the Parade album, all of that stuff. And that's what, because at a young age, I was convinced, I'll just grow up and play for Prince.
Were you self-taught? Did you self-taught?
I actually had some teachers when I was younger, and then I sort of stopped. I've had teachers along the way, but I've had greater moments of just doing stuff myself, even though a lot of that comes from going out and seeing other bass players and catching influence there. But yeah, I had a guy who taught me early on. What I didn't realize what was happening back when I was 12, but there was a guy who's an amazing bassist in the town. He would go out the back, to have a little smoke break. Yeah, smoke. Yeah, little smoke break. And then I walk in the room, and he was just happy to say, "Hey, man, yeah." And then he's like, and we'd have the book with the notes, and he's like, "Man, let's put that away today, man. What are you listening to?" And he'd be like, "Hey, man, you heard Duran Duran's song Rio? Man, check the bass line out." And he'd play it. Yeah, exactly. He'd teach me that, and then he'd teach me General Public, and then he'd teach me another, and that's how he taught me. He was like, let's take the songs on the radio that you dig and I dig, and let's find the ones with good bass lines, and let's get into them.
Your foundation is good, because LA has a vibe, and because I'm from the Bronx, I feel a way about the Northeast kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And I think people are amazed because our skin looks a certain way, but our musical trunk spans, and they go, oh my God, how do you know that? And I think it's just because of the city, just that whole vibe. It was, you got everything.
We used to really get everything.
You got everything.
We really did, and we got everything. And though there was a lot, there wasn't too much of everything, right? And I do think that in a lot of ways, for sort of for a black household, and not just black household. I mean, we're talking the West Coast, so I would say anybody South American, so Puerto Rican, Dominican. I think everybody had their whatever their music was that was played in their home, whatever it was. But MTV only had so much. They were only giving us so much. VH1 was only giving us so much, and then BT as well. So we know Hall & Oates, right? We know on Hall & Oates deeply.
Yeah.
We know Springsteen deeply.
Yeah.
We know that doggone Journey, Steve Perry. We know all of this stuff because
Don't
the
forget
Chicago,
and the Mac, Fleetwood Mac. We know all that.
We know all of that, right? We do. Whereas sometimes the if you listened, if Fleetwood Mac and Journey if that's where you began, if that's really what was at home, you didn't really get the equal exposure to like some of the other things. So yeah, we know everything.
We know everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're having this band and you're like in the 7th grade, you're doing talent shows, etc. Really learning from somebody that sounds really good from and teaching you and that type of thing. You're like 18. Like, how do we get to college? Like, college was always a thing. Was that a non-negotiable?
Yeah. My mom works in academia.
There we go.
Right? Yeah. There it is. Yeah. Enough said. Right? That's the wrap on that. So yeah, exactly that part. So mom works in academia.
Yes.
That was it, and so she was working at Spelman at the time that I was applying to colleges. And so, of course, with Spelman, her working at Spelman, I wound up doing an early college program at Morehouse, got familiar with it. And then, my godbrother, whose mom used to play me all the Kashif and the Evelyn Champagne King when I was young, I went to godbrother Eddie was there. I went to Morehouse. And so, from doing all that, went to Morehouse, and I was a music major at Morehouse, but my focus, they didn't have a focus for bass or bass guitar. So I said, well, like I write songs. I like songwriting. I'll go into composition. That'll be my focus. So I became a composition major and had to study a lot of the Western European classical masters, if it's comfortable to say, from that thing. But all those, and had to analyze their music. But at Morehouse, it was such a crucial thing because I wound up meeting so many other musicians, and then later to find out there are tons of musicians that come out of Morehouse. I mean, tons of people who are playing for the best of the best producers, as well as different people who play for a lot. I mean, Eric Clapton's drummer Sonny Emery, right? Like, just start there, right? The greatest of the great, right?
Really
great. Exactly. Janet Jackson's bass player, and also he's playing for they're called the Chicks now. They used to be the Dixie Chicks. Yeah, Sam Sims. But I mean, all of these people, Dr. Derek Scott out here in the scene, and all these people went to Morehouse, and certainly, and if we broaden it from the AUC,
I know
it's incredible.
There's a cross-pollination because I'm thinking Avery Sunshine, right? She's Spelman, but she was, musical director, right?
Yeah, at a church. Yeah, at churches and everything. But yeah, and she's right at Spelman. I mean, the AUC took a moment to really lift up and try to bring together the musical community that has come out of there. Just in all genres, sure, but certainly in popular music and in jazz. I mean, it would be incredible, but, we tend to celebrate, the preachers, the doctors, the activists, and every now and then there's yes, exactly, sure. That's what that tends to be lifted up more.
And that's the correlation. Thank you, Dr. King. Because when we think of Dr. King, we think of Morehouse, we think of that.
Very true.
And maybe a little acting because Samuel Jackson
went there. That's
went
right.
To Morehouse.
That's
a little bit because of Spike Lee, he went there, right?
That's right.
So you do.
Oh, yes.
There's an artistic connection there, but musically, we never really looked at it from under the scope, like, wow, there's really some great people that went there. So the
phenomenal people.
The Morehouse years,
the Morehouse years were great, and mostly musically, it's I guess it's a couple things that happen.
Yes.
Part of it is that I'm I wind up meeting a cluster of musicians through the Morehouse College Jazz Band, and also just from being in the dorm. I met Dana Johnson, who is the other half,
Yes, yes.
one half of Avery
Avery
Sunshine. Yep. So Dana, who's one of my closest friends, Dana and a host of other musicians, all of them great and also just as close to me. We wound up, it was this time where, we were meeting up and we were in jazz band, but we knew we wanted to do something different and go for something. And at the same time that was happening, WCLK and Ken Beatty started playing a bunch of at that time, new music we had never heard before. A lot of it coming from overseas, a lot of it coming from New York, and a fair bit coming from Japan as well. And it was what is known as really the acid jazz movement, maybe the London soul movement, but pre neo soul, decidedly acid jazz. So we were hearing all the stuff on WCLK, the Ronnie Jordan and Mr. Fingers, and then of course Incognito.
Right.
And then one day, Dana, I remember this so well. I came out of a class. He saw me come out of the door, and he started jogging up to me, and he had a Sony Discman in his hand, right? So he jogs up to me with the Sony Discman, and yes, I did just then. Yeah, absolutely. When he had the headphones with the little foam on, the little foam. Yeah, exactly. So he ran up and he said, "Man," he's like, "What are you doing now?" And I was like, "Man, I'm going to lunch." He's like, "Hang on a minute, listen to this." And he put the headphones on. And it was We're Too Young to Die by Jamiroquai, the first Jamiroquai album. And I mean, our minds were just blown. And then at that point, we were like, we have to make a band. Like, let's get everybody together. And we made our own band that was very, very much so like sort of like I think a Brand New Heavies, Jamiroquai, but mixed in because we're horn heavy. So we mixed in with a little early Kool and the Gang sort of vibes, and and it was called Serious B, and so we were off to the races. Yeah, and that was Morehouse for me. Yeah, that was Morehouse. That, and then going to see Little John and the Chronicle every Thursday for about 4 years straight, and seeing that band and watching that band. Again, if I was in Atlanta, I do not miss a Thursday for 4 or 5 years. And I would say watching them musically certainly changed my life.
They're life-changing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They changed people's lives.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they surely did. Yeah, there's nothing like that.
He's awesome. Shouts out to Lil Jon Roberts.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Big time.
Phenomenal drummer and musical director, and just really has contributed to the landscape here in Atlanta. And no matter where he travels and tours, he just always feels like Atlanta is
absolutely
home for him.
Absolutely.
And so that's the conditioning in the early, late 80s.
Oh yeah, this
90s?
is I saw them 94 for the first time. So I was seeing them between 94 and 99. That's when I was just there all the time, and incredible.
Music at its best.
Woo. Hey, it just changed my concept of musicianship and how far what to expect from my own, or how far to reach. Yeah.
It was like there's no limits now.
Oh yeah. By the time I saw them, oh man, it was
Did we have a name for music? Like, did neo soul start?
Well, this was all before neo soul. I would say, different people probably market different ways, but we probably all. I think the first person that I would say is neo soul, although it doesn't necessarily get said to be so much. The first person I really say is neo soul is that first Michelle and Dege Ocello record, that Plantation Lullabies. Now, I don't think that it's typical of a neo soul record, right? But I would say that the first people that I hear who are really doing what I think is neo soul would be that Michelle and Dege Ocello, and then also Omar, right? Those would be the first two things that I would count.
Okay.
Now, what happens to me after that is in 96, we get Urban Hang Suite by Maxwell, right?
Yes.
And then after that, Baduism.
Yes.
And I think by the time we get Baduism, I think that's officially neo soul has
Got you.
begun,
All
right?
right.
I mean, really, it's, Maxwell and Badu. I think by the time we get there, that's neo soul has begun.
Yeah.
So this is really in the time that all of that is being cultivated, and there's really a and I mean, Little John's somebody who would speak to this a lot better than I would, but I really saw a lot of parallels between Atlanta and Philadelphia. And Philadelphia is greatly known for, neo soul let alone the Philly sound, right? The Philly sound, that's right. And during the 90s, when there's so many people in Philadelphia involved in the neo soul and carving out the neo soul sound, I feel like Atlanta had that as well. I think a lot more people in Philadelphia wound up getting signed and
Yeah.
being all over each
Yeah.
other's records, whereas I think in Atlanta, few people got signed, but a lot of people, I think wound up being independent, you know what I mean? Decidedly or circumstantially.
Did it still have like an underground feel here in Atlanta
Very
versus
much.
Philly? Because you think Philly, you think Jill Scott with the whole, because her first album just was one that
Yeah.
you just had one in the car, one in the house. You bought it I bought it for a couple of people. Like, you got to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like that's when neo soul really got mainstream. Like that, yeah, is that who is Jill Scott? I think that is the one that really likely, if it's probably Lauryn Hill, right?
Yeah.
It's probably Lauryn Hill, but that's a neo soul record. That's a rap record. There's a lot of things that record is. But yeah.
It was more in a space where we felt at that time as young adults. Like the what love meant. Like it just felt like she was speaking our language. Really, the whole neo soul fabric
Absolutely
spoke to our language at that time.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And it was really, I guess that sort of up to 2000 point. And then I think that D'Angelo released Voodoo, and then that changed everything. I didn't realize it at the time. It would be years later when I would understand how much that record really changed the landscape of neo soul and soul music, and, to be honest, of popular rock. To come after that, but that's what it was like in Atlanta. We were seeing this burgeoning. We had our own people here who were doing it. You had Freddie Luster and Lisa Terry's band with, Billy Fields and all these people called Seek. That was a really big one in Atlanta, that band Seek. But then you also had my band Sirius B. You had Donnie, right? You had India, you know what I mean? The young Avery, the young Anthony David. So we were all, doing that, as well. But again, these people were getting signed, they were signed and putting out albums in the 90s, whereas we were getting signed and putting out albums in the 2000s.
Gotcha. You remember your first tour?
Very much.
And who was it with?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the first tour,
part of the program where you drop names.
Yes. Forgive me for the shameless that's about to happen, but it is about to happen because it did happen. So the first tour we're with India, right? So India Ari, right? Our good friend India Ari. That's right. So that's who we begin with. And Acoustic Soul was released March 31st. We're folded into the band probably by May,
Nice.
By May we're in the band, and the whole thing was we were going to go out on tour with India, and India was going to be Maxwell's opening act. So we were getting ready to tour with that, but that was when Maxwell was reaching toward, I think, the Embrya record, and it was taking a little while before it came. No, maybe the album that came after Embrya. I think it was that one. I can't remember what it's called, but as he was reaching toward that, he decided not to tour, and at the same time, Music Soul Child was getting looked at, but he got passed on because India opened for him.
Okay.
And then India was chosen as the opening act for Sade. So for 3 straight months, we were on the road with Sade. India, we were all on the road doing arenas for 90 days on the road with Sade. And so like you, and like I'm going to expect a healthy majority of people, right, listening to this, certainly within anywhere between 10 years, ahead of us, behind us in age. We are avid Sade fans, right? Like it's not fan. It's like we are all. It doesn't feel odd that we're all obsessed with Sade because we're all obsessed with her, right? But she has she has her own thing, right? And so the way that feels with that Sade world that we love and who we love, but we're not inside of that, right? Because they're very private, and they also lived in England. So we were on the road with them for 90 days, and it was one of the best times of my life. It was it was amazing. I would like to say that we learned so much, and we did, but it was just so mind-blowing to be that close to the biggest tour of the year.
Yeah.
And for us to just be the opening act. This was before India had her Grammy nominations or anything. It was incredible. But Sade and her entire band treated us so beautifully and so well. It was, yeah. And so, and all the Sweetback members of her band, the three main guys who are with her, Andrew, Paul, and Stuart, as well as that tall brother that sings with Sade and has that voice. So he was out there. He sang a little bit on the Sweetback stuff. Yeah. It's about faith.
To come back and tour.
We sure do. Oh yeah, we can talk about that for sure. But yeah, that was the first tour.
What a way to come into it.
I agree. It was a way to enter it all.
Was it hard? Has it been difficult to find that feeling again, or you've gotten different feelings throughout your career?
You get different feelings throughout your career, for sure. Was it hard to find that sort of level and comfort of tour and such? Yes. Yeah. Not all tours are built like that, and of course they're not. Right. Of course they're not. But they were not. That was an exceptional moment in time, and they were amazing. But yeah, each tour is its own special thing, because I've had other experiences playing with other people, even not India, in touring, that were amazing to me in a whole other way. Yeah.
Such as?
Honestly, Russell Gunn. The amazing Russell Gunn here in Atlanta. Yeah, no, Russell Gunn is brilliant musical mind.
He's good.
Trumpet master.
Yes.
Right? And I used to, I always felt like, when there are these sort of things that you would do, like a tourism board would say, come to Atlanta and come experience this, and this. I always felt like one of the best things you could experience in Atlanta is going to hear Russell Gunn play trumpet.
I know that.
You know what I mean? Especially the kind of places he plays when he's home. I mean, he's in all kinds of venues when he's touring the world, but when he's home, I mean, it's just a special thing to hear that dude play trumpet. And of course, now he plays with so many people, but he's out with Marcus Miller all the time. Yeah.
Another great guy.
Yeah, another great guy. Yes.
I saw Russell Gunn. I've seen him a couple of times, but I saw him be the musical director for Dion Ferris at St. James some years ago before the pandemic. My goodness. Mind blowing. And she sounded incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah, and always does.
Always does.
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
I think some artists just trust the musical director, and they just give their soul to whatever it is that musical director needs them to do. It's like it's an exchange that we may not even know, but we feel it, we hear it.
Absolutely.
Right? And so being an MD is a huge responsibility.
It is.
Everybody can't do it.
Yeah, it is. No, I don't think.
Everybody can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, do it and do it.
And do it well.
Well, yeah, I think, yes. Russell Gunn is one of them. He can all day long. Absolutely.
Kari? Yes.
Yes.
I've seen you.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah.
I've seen you.
Yeah, I have the temperament for it.
You have it.
I do. I have the temperament for that. I do.
Good.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I love doing it. Yeah, I love doing that. And when I really connect with the music, I mean, I always say with when it comes to being a bass player,
Mhm.
for being a bass player, I could almost play with a multitude of people and really come and appreciate what I'm doing and appreciate learning, whatever's there and whatever style I'm doing. But when it comes to um, music directing, for me, it's very much so that I have to really love the music
Mhm.
or the music and the artist. I
Mhm.
really have to connect with it. I
Yeah.
I have to connect with it to be able to teach people through it. You know what
Gotcha.
I mean? And help walk, a band through it or assemble a band through it. I have to. It just has to be something I connect with. So when I really connect with, whether it's a particular music or an artist, if I connect, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And
I've got it.
I've witnessed that. And you mentioned the late great Ken Bay, may he rest in peace. He
Absolutely,
is a cornerstone too, uh, in regards to Atlanta music and the whole neo soul and just how he exposed so many people to music and the way that he did it.
that's right.
And the fact that he was a mentor, he had mentees and things of that nature. Shouts out to Jamal Ahmed,
Shout out to
right?
Jamal.
Because
That's right.
Jamal,
He picked up
right,
that torch.
he picked up that torch and
Yes, he
he
did.
learned from the likes of him.
Yes.
From Kenvyadi, and because of his passing, unfortunately, untimely passing at the
Yeah.
time,
Hmm.
you were asked, I believe, to be the musical director as a tribute
Yes,
to the late great Ken Beatty,
that's right.
and that was done in the Apache Cafe.
Yes,
Some
that's
people
right.
knew it as Yin Yang Cafe, and then
That's
it turned
right.
into
And
Apache
then it turned to
Cafe,
Apache. That's
and
right.
it was
Uh-huh.
a thing.
It was and it was a thing, and we put it together, and we came to do it right for him. That's
Man, Rhonda Thomas on
yes.
vocals, shouts out to that.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yeah, the great Rhonda, yeah.
Ron
The great Rhonda, yes. It's
Love
like
talking
yeah,
with her.
yeah,
Yes, great conversation with
absolutely.
her.
Yeah,
But
good,
you've
yeah.
had some great
Oh, yeah,
people.
no, listen, I've been very fortunate to have incredible musicians all around me
Yeah.
who are all and a great many of whom have been so willing to jump into whatever we're doing and whatever we're thinking about. And so when it comes time to lift up somebody like Ken, and you're going through, okay, when you want to, tribute Ken Beatty, you want to do everything from the Crusaders in Grover, Washington, all the way through Soul to Soul and Incognito, because he connected those bridge, right? He connected all of that for all of us. So when we got a chance to do the tribute for him, that was a big one. I'm so happy that you saw that.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh,
Met some great people in the space there that night too. Shouts out to Sylvia Brown. Met her that night,
Sylvia.
sitting
Hey,
up front and
Sylvia.
front and center.
Front and
Not
center. That's
not
right.
missing
Oh,
a
we
beat.
love seeing that
You
face
know
up
what I
front.
mean?
Oh,
So it
yes.
was really good. And I know because you have a love of music, it's probably difficult to know which selections to pick because you love everything.
Yes, you do.
It's hard.
Yep, it is. Yes, it all that is. Song selection is difficult and super fun, and you judge it by different things.
Yeah.
The crowd's familiarity with it, the band's familiarity with it. Of the level. There's probably songs that we could certainly take on, but you have to sometimes look at, well, if we have to learn these 14. Do we have time for this one that's obviously going to demand a little more? Yeah. And, so there's always stuff like that. But yeah, when it comes time for song selection, I love that part of the process.
Music then versus now. Is it
Yes.
totally different or in your heart it feels the same? That's where you say that's a good
Okay.
question.
Well, yes, that is, yeah, that was the face of that. Yeah, that was completely the face of, wow, that was really well. That was well asked. That was really, wow. You're true journalist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you've been a musician for several decades.
that
And
is
so
true.
you've seen it change.
Yes, that
And
is true.
COVID did a thing, but outside of
Mhm.
COVID, just musically,
Yeah.
is it a big difference or is it still the same in your heart?
Well, I think that there are I think there are some things that are the same. I think that once we get to, sometime between 2000 and 2010, it's not really that we are seeing new genres created.
Okay.
New genres are popping up all the time from in the 1900s. In the 2000s and in the late 90s into the 2000s, we had some new musical genres, and a lot of the time, sometimes or often, the technology would dictate the movement of there being a new musical era, hip hop and sampling, right? Which I guess, that's also the thing that distinguishes house from disco, right? In a lot of ways, right? That kind of thing. So with that, I really feel like there's not really the exploring of new genres, but there are new bands and new voices and new sounds all the time. And I think that there's sort of the bringing together of different things, that's something new that happens a lot of the time. I never heard this put together with that, and then you put it together and there's that. Now, so in that sense, I don't know that I feel like there's anything new, but I am going to speak to this because this is a thing. And sometimes, it sounds, I feel like anybody in their generation who grew up with their respective generation, grew up with music in their 20s or teens and 20s, they feel like there's no music like that. But I personally feel like the 90s and some of the 2000s, really, the acid jazz movement and neo soul movement, I think had a thread of positivity that was the undercurrent for everything. I think that with bands like Incognito and Outside and the Brand New Heavies and Groove Collective and, lesser known bands like the Repercussions and lesser known artists like Jaleesa. But this music at this time was so, it's amazing, but it was so full of positive messaging that I feel that these days, I can hear Snarky Puppy and I can understand, Snarky Puppy. And not that they are to be reduced to anything, because there's greatness.
Yes.
There's their own greatness and a singular voice as a band and unit, and certainly to Mike League. But I also feel like, okay, that's the RH factor, showing up at another time, Roy Hargrove's RH factor, right? That's what I feel like when I hear that, which was a phenomenal band. But that RH factor, I feel like, was just on the tail end of that energy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So while both phenomenal bands, both with singular voices, even though Snarky obviously was influenced by the former, still there's just a different thing energy-wise with that music that was constantly feeding us positive messages, and this thing of being on something positive. There was a lot of, reclaiming love for your community, for your brother, for your sister, love for, different pockets of people. Black love was really expressed a lot in the 90s and really lifted up again. Again, like we were saying, Michelle Indego Cello and Plantation Lullabies, the title alone, right? Yeah. That's why I feel that the music was different during that time. Everybody had, nobody even came together to talk about it, but everybody had a singular motive of positivity.
And moving the needle forward. That RH factor, their contribution to moving it or changing the current or being that baseline as you speak of. They even had Erykah Badu singing.
Oh yes,
quite a bit of, you know what I mean? Which kind of put them in that space of that neo soul genre. The 90s, I love 80s music. I love 80s.
Yes.
But most people will say 90s was the best music ever. And if you go out to clubs today, it could be a day party. You go to a day party. The kids could be half your age. They are singing every verse to every 90 song.
Correct.
From Tevin Campbell to Next to New Edition to
To Next. That's right. Yeah,
anybody
yeah,
that
yeah.
put on that
Uh-huh.
was in the
Uh-huh.
90s. These
Uh-huh.
kids, they're on
Uh-huh.
social media and they are singing every song. They are doing their line dancing to it. The
Yes.
whole thing.
Yes.
It's a thing.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
hip hop.
Absolutely.
They know it. So I'm like, there's something about that music, right?
Yes, there is.
That still resonates today.
That's right. That's
And
exactly
there are
right.
some artists vocally, I think of October London, who samples over old stylistic beats and old beats or songs that we've heard before, but he has the soul that we're kind of familiar with. There's Ari Lennox, there's other people, there's Jasmine Sullivan, there's
Yes.
people that can
Yes.
really sing.
Oh, yeah.
That are still pulling it forward for us, or at least making it prevalent. There's a conversation that there's no more groups, like, right? There's no more
Sure.
groups
Yep.
today like there was back then.
Like there was, yep.
But there's still singers, and we have this energy, and we have the music that was done. Once it's done well, it transcends time.
Yes.
It'll be here forever.
Yeah, yes, and that's very clear now.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it'll be here forever. It's never going to change. That's never going to die.
That's
So
right.
I appreciate that. If someone asks you what kind of genre of music you are musically, what would you say to them? Because I see you as everything.
Yeah, I see myself as everything too. So I'm going to try to answer that widely and see if I can focus that in, because I know that I'm really somebody who wound up playing soul music, really, as a bass player, even with a foundation on top of other types of music. I really wind up being, as a bass player, really playing a lot of soul music.
Soul music.
But of course, I can play a lot of anything. But in that banner of soul music, there's so much in there, from the more acoustic side of it, that you hear a Phoebe Snow, Terry Collier, or India, right? So yes, Phoebe Snow, yes, ma'am. All the way to the other side of like Donny Hathaway, Earth, Wind and Fire, and all that kind of stuff, and to the Maxwell Urban Hang Suite album, which was a big bass influence on me at that time as well. So I say that I do that, but it winds up that the banner of the amalgamation of soul, jazz, and funk is really the blend that winds up being in so much of the music that I like, but also a lot of the music that I do. And it really is that. So depending on where I am, some people will say, oh, okay, you're sort of in the, on the outskirts of jazz, being that it's, being that, me and my band are, certainly do instrumentals, and we certainly draw from an era of jazz that would be more of the 70s and 80s. So we draw from like the Lee Ritenour, sort of era of things, the Spirogyra,
WAP sound, a little bit of that.
Absolutely, that Miles Amandla album, and that doo-wop, yes, all of that. We love all of that, and of course we are to sort of give it a more academic term. I think, how do I define soul music? As it and neo soul, I just believe that neo soul is post hip hop era soul music, and that's really what it is. It's once hip hop happens, and its absolute influence of everything is influenced by it, right? So the soul music that comes after, this is not we're not sounding like a Michael Franks album. We sound like we got an MPC, a Rhodes, and some sort of heavy thumping bass, right? And that's what it is. We're taking neo soul is really two things were happening for neo soul. We're taking hip hop and we were producing like that and singing over it, and we were reclaiming the 70s. Making it our own, and that is where neo soul meets. You know what I mean? It is post hip hop era, 70s revival soul music. For the most part, 70s revival. There's a little bit 80s, a little bit of 60s, but mostly it's 70s instrumentation for sure. Yeah, and so I would say that those are the things, that I am.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Is there an artist that you haven't worked with that you would like to?
Oh, yeah, there were yes, there are several. For a while, I really wanted to work with, there were several people I wanted to work with. Do you remember Adriana Evans? Okay, she came out around the time Erykah Badu did, but her album didn't get as popular, but a vocalist that I loved. Um, I used to also really love the group Zap Mama. Yeah, okay. I used to really love Zap Mama and always really wanted to work with them as well. So those are two for sure. There's so I do, there's another Donnie that's in London, right? Is Donnie, but he does DON-E. But that's a vocalist who I really, really like a lot, who I've always wanted to work with. And then there's some instrumentalists out there. I always wanted to work with somebody from the Prince family. You know what I mean? Like there are a couple of people in there that I really, really liked that I was hoping to get a chance to work with. And also in terms of our group of our people, one of the people I would love to work with. The members of Soul Live. Yep, the group of Soul Live. I would love to work with them. I would also love to work with Nicolay. Yes, yeah, I would love, to do some work with Nicolay from Foreign Exchange. Oh yes, yep, Nicolay. That would be great to
He
me.
was in
Yeah,
town about a month or so ago.
was he? Oh yeah, that's right. Jamal said that he saw him.
Being set on a Monday night and kind of blew the place out.
Yeah, of course. Oh
Yeah.
man, of course he
You
did.
know?
Yes, yeah, yeah. He's
Exchange is awesome.
Yeah, foreign exchange is all. Yeah,
It's great.
I agree with that. Foreign exchange is pretty amazing. And there are a couple of other people that stop me in my tracks. I am a fan of Gregory Porter's voice a lot, and a chance to be somewhere with a voice like that would certainly be amazing.
I see you
Yeah.
with I see Omar.
I could see some of that Omar too. I think
That is
I totally agree. I totally
no
yes.
matter how big or small, because that
Yep.
guy,
Oh
he
yes.
gets it,
Oh yes.
and you get it too. So that
Oh
would be a
yes.
nice collaboration. And then
Yes, I agree with that.
I would have also would like to see you, even though we lost her, Roberta Flack.
Oh, that
That
yeah,
would have been
that
beautiful because I think
yes.
she's a person, not the neo soul, but she's soul.
Yes. Yes.
Classically
Classic.
trained soul. She has Donny Hathaway on her soul.
Mhm.
She has a
Mhm.
raspy voice.
Yes.
Soul.
Yes.
I would have loved to have seen that for you.
Oh yeah, thank you. We actually had the opportunity to play with her because she came to India shows all the time. So back in the 2000s, we got to play for her, share stage with her band and stuff like that. So yeah, there's been some pretty cool stuff like that. Yeah, there's another woman I really like off the path of our usual soul stuff. There's a singer named Inara George who is with this group called The Bird and the Bee, who is a really interesting sort of like alternative but beats almost akin to like maybe Stereo Lab or some stuff like that. Yeah, there's some people like that in the more sort of alternative side of things that I also really like a lot, whose voices I really appreciate and would love a chance to work with. But yeah.
Another one, Nora
Jones? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So spectacular songwriter, spectacular voice. I think it would be. I mean, I always felt like, I'd love to rap a really soulful record around her and really do a thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And but with her band and then some of the stuff with Glasper, I know that she's probably achieved quite a bit of that. I still would like still that would be an awesome thing to be able to work with her.
I heard you say that, but I spoke that over you when I saw you a couple of weeks ago. Robert Glasper.
Yes. Oh yes.
That guy gets it too. Does he not get it? He gets it, and it's amazing.
Yes,
the
he does.
collaborations of vocalists that he has with his musicians and just how they infuse music, it just does something for me. And I put you in that same category. I was
Thank
watching
you.
social media can be used for good or bad. I use it
Yeah.
for good. I was
Yes.
minding my business one day and I saw a reel come through, and it was at the Kennedy Center Honors.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this face that I recognized, you applauding, and I was like, Kari, were you there? Was that not you one time?
Yeah. I sure did. I was at the Kennedy Center Honors. I sure was. Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
Oh
because that
yeah.
is like,
Yeah. No, that's a great place to be. Yeah, I've been able. So I've been either in the building or involved in a few different
that business
ways.
that man is
Yes. Two or three times. One was one of them was I performed there with a singer songwriter in town, an Indian American singer songwriter who implements a lot of traditional Indian or Indian classical music into her pop singer songwriter idiom. Her name's Anita A. Sola, so I got to play with her there. And then another time, India was performing there, and then another time I got to go for the opening of the Smithsonian, the African American museum up there. Yes, so I got to go for the opening of that when, of course, you had all those people there. So yeah, I was up in there for that. Oh well,
great.
Thank you.
You know, 'cause it's
I
like
tried hard.
That's
Yes.
like our guy. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's your people.
Like right
Yes.
there.
Oh yes.
I'm like, that's awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. I appreciate it.
I saw it. I said, I'm calling it.
Oh, I appreciate
it. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah. It was amazing to be there for that. And it was a fantastic musical tribute. It's one of these tributes where, you know, there's a big celebration of African American music from blues to hip hop, right?
Yes.
You're right. And it's one of those, and it's not often that you go to a show and see somebody even take that on, let alone attempt it and do it very, very well. And that night, of course, it was done very well and overseen. I mean, you know, Ricky Minor, and then with Quincy Jones present, you know, there's no way it wasn't going to be great.
Ricky Minor's been in the business a long time. He's musically directed a lot of things.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Apollo to
yes.
Oscars, the Grammy. Yeah, he's done everything.
He has done everything.
Listen, there had been a change in the climate. Like, live music was just popping. We were just, Atlanta was, there was, you go here, you go there, and then COVID happened.
Yes.
Shut a lot of things down.
Yeah.
Made people contemplate, what am I really doing? Like, what's really
going
on? You know what I mean?
Yes.
What's really happening? Like, how long is this going to go on? What am I going to do? How am I going to, like, continue to pursue what I love? I have responsibilities. I got a family. What's really happening? And so things kind of, like, changed. And now we are outside.
Yes, we are.
We are back outside.
We are.
And I see you in these streets.
Yes, you do.
Hitting that day.
Yes, that's right.
With big smile on thy face. You understand what I mean? Like, in the corner pocket, like, hey, like, if Prince comes through.
Yeah,
Prince,
that's right.
That shit. That's how you look.
Good. Thank you for that.
You know
That's how I've been trying to look since I was 12.
From the smallest of venues to
the biggest.
To the biggest.
Yeah. Oh yes.
And I got receipts. I've seen you boom. Shouts out to Buteco, Rafa.
Oh yeah, Raphael and Buteco. Oh yes.
You guys to do what you do.
Oh yes.
Shouts out to Craig Garrett, who brings you
next level.
Next level.
That's right. That's right.
Entertainment
100%.
doing that stuff.
Yes.
And you're hitting it there. Malcolm Jamal may come through. Malcolm Jamal.
He's gonna be there.
He's gonna be there.
Yeah.
He's
Another
a musician. He's not
bass.
an actor.
Oh yeah, listen,
he is a musician.
Exactly. I was telling him, and TC Carson, who also comes out all the time. I was saying,
nice voice.
Fantastic voice, right? But when they're out at these events, man, you don't forget about the acting, but it'll take. But when I'm out at these events, because we're in the music and we're sort of like comrades in music, I forget about the other part until like, we all step outside together, and
It's a fan.
and three women run up to Malcolm to get a picture, and then you're like, oh, right, that's right, this dude is fake. Yeah, right, okay, right. You forget, yeah. Oh yeah, still working, still doing great work out here. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
But just a nice guy. You
Great dude.
guys have
Great
a
dude.
great formula. Shouts out for Craig. I'm so
Yeah.
happy for him because the guys that he picked to do this ensemble
Yes.
is so good. You guys
Yes.
are like brothers.
Yeah. Oh no, it's really it's an amazing thing. You know, when we get to do this first Thursday of the month over at Buteco, it's really amazing. Yeah, and I mean it's such a perfect balance, and I'm also happy to do it. And I say this with humility, and I say this very carefully. It is sometimes I think, what do musicians coming along, musicians in their teens and 20s who are going out to hear music, what are they looking at and what are they looking for, you know? Now, these days, there's going to be a 20-year-old bass player who's probably surpassing me in terms of their level of execution on the instrument. There's so many great ones at a young age now. But I always remember me going to see the Chronicle and what that was for my life. So I'm glad that we have an improvisational hip hop influenced jam session that is mostly instrumental, because I feel like it's a through line of what happened. I think the Chronicle are the Chronicle, and those musicians are those musicians, and I could never compare. But what I would say is, it's the energy, right? It's almost like there's similar or same energy showing up there. Not the same musicians or anything like that, because I mean, Avery Johnson, Phil Davis, Lil Jon, L Rock, Billy Odom, and DJ Kemet. They're masters at their craft, and that was a band like no other, But yeah, so I'm happy to have that energy, Even when we were talking about the Atlanta Jazz Festival, and I was speaking to you about that, a lot of the time, I love when I get to play with 4 or 5 people in a band, but decidedly doing a 10-piece band that is organized so that people have a vision of musical unity on a stage with a variety of people from various backgrounds, ages, gender, and everything else is important, because for me, one of the beautiful things was in the 90s, and I know this wasn't a lot of us, but we got to see Swing Out Sister, we got to see Jamiroquai, we got to see D-Influence, come on, we got to see, Incognito, Bluey, and all of them. So I grew up seeing all these, India Davenport. So we saw all these big bands, and I also now think, who else is coming to see a model of unity on a stage where there's horns, there's vocals, there's percussion, and thumping bass? You know what I mean? Where do you see a vision of unity on a stage like that? So it's just like, well, that's a thing you carry on. So with carrying that on, like you were talking about with Malcolm and the guys, with Craig Garrett and Next Level and Dash, doing that, carrying on with the Jiva and the 10-piece band, and and all of that, it's important.
Is that what we're going to get at the Atlanta Hearts Festival, the 10-piece band?
Oh yes. Oh no. Listen, when on May 24th. Yeah, on May 24th. Oh yes, when Atlanta Jazz Festival comes up, we're opening the festival this year. So me and my band are opening the festival. So we're first up on Saturday, May 24th at 1 p.m. And so so we are up there. We've got the horns. We've got Lava High and Shonda Lee on vocals, and then my rhythm section, which is always with me no matter what I do. An incredible group of musicians. Raphael will be on percussion as well. Yep. Yep. Yeah, yay for Rafa all the time. Yes, we do. Oh yes.
I'll be there. I don't know if you'll be able to see me, because now they have that VIP section.
Oh yes, that's right.
Us
yeah, yes, a little
back,
a little further back.
We can lean over the wave
and wave like we did some years ago.
Yeah, I feel like we're further away from, but
yes, I do.
I understand.
Yep. Yes, I do.
Just got to upgrade my.
Upgrade. Yeah.
The VIP.
Yeah. Which one?
Yeah.
That's right.
The fun is amongst the people, though.
But the fun is amongst the
blankets and the tents.
Yep. Having our little tiny reunions. Yes.
What kind of new new projects in music are you're working on? What you got?
Oh, so there are a couple. Oh, there are a number of things. I really one thing I really want to see, and it's probably taking me a while, too long, but this vocalist Lava High, who's here, I really want to see. I think she's such an incredible new voice on the music scene. I want to see her with a recording that is worthy of her talent that you get from her when you see her in person. That's certainly something I'm working on. I'm also working on the next Jiva record. We just finished the first single from it, where we it's sort of a dance record, but it sort of is a bit of a love letter to August Darnell and all the bands that he helped create, like Dr. Buzzard's original Savannah band, Kid Creole and the Coconuts, all of that. Yeah, exactly. That thing. Cherchez la femme. Yes. So there's so much of that we love. So we've been doing some stuff. We've been listening to a lot of August Darnell and those bands. So yeah, we're getting into that quite a bit now. So that's it. We're going to be doing that single. That single is going to be coming out in the summer. It's called Au revoir, New York. Au revoir, New York. Yeah. So yeah. So we're working on that, and then Raphael and I share a studio space. So we just went through a big old setup, a rehaul, and now we have a great production space, and have some new music coming very soon.
Doing some stuff with Daz IQ too?
Oh, we never stop doing stuff with Daz IQ. That's right. Yeah, you know exactly what's going on here. Yeah. So the great Daz, yep, still in the mix. Oh yes.
You are in a happy
place.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're in a happy place. And we're really getting back into the writing and recording, which is something that I really love, and doing a bit of work with Bluey and his London crew helping us out quite a bit with it. Always Bluey is helping you out. Bluey has been one of the single biggest musical influences and helping hands that I've had in my lifetime, for sure. So, we constantly remain thankful for him. He's very much so like a Maurice White, very much so. He's like that. So I am forever, always in a thankful space for him. Yeah. Yes.
I am so happy to have this conversation with you.
I'm so happy to have it with you as well.
I've been a fan of yours for years, since I met you, and your schedules you're busy guy. I feel like I got you right at the right time, because you're going to be out of here.
Yeah.
You're going to be so busy.
Yeah. I hope that you're exactly right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's let busy come, but I am not ever going to be too busy to come to Real Chicks Rock, to come here and have conversation part 2, to come here and do whatever. I'll drive people here. I'll be your personal Lyft account to get all these artists to come in here. So no, it is my pleasure.
This
so
was your time,
never too busy.
We get the snippets of you from WCLK. Thank you, WCLK, when he
always
bring you in that time of year, and just when you have just things going on.
Yes.
I just felt you needed some time. You needed your time to just really just talk and just share and smile and give your opinions and experiences, and just let us know what's going on with you, because I am grateful for you. I think it is a thing that we all need to do. You're paying it forward.
Oh yes.
It would be a sad thing to experience all of this music and all of these great things that we had, that we couldn't pass it on to other people, right? The torch has to be passed on. And I think you're doing a good job in cultivating that and carrying that on. And that's very important to me and to other people, because time moves very quickly.
Yes, we were speaking about.
Right,
yes,
right?
That's right.
So
it does.
We don't have a lot of time.
Yes.
But while we're here, we need to just share what we have and what we've learned, so it can carry on, because it's been great work. You've been a great staple here in Atlanta, a really good guy, an awesome musician, just a good man here to know and be connected to. And I thank you so much. I wish you nothing but continued success.
That is the sweetest thing to hear. Thank you so much.
Really great.
I appreciate that so much. Oh, there's a smile resonating. It resonates from the heart chakra. Yes.
Here in the musical space. We can't thank you enough. Listen, that's my time. You know me, Real Chicks Rock. I'm everywhere. I'm on Facebook. Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Listen, go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe, hit the bell, notify so you don't miss another episode or conversation because these are so good. You don't want to miss
Yes,
them.
they are.
I want to thank you so much for your time. But listen, for those those that know, I loved Frankie Crocker. He was on the radio, 107.5 WBLS in New York, and he would end his show by saying this: "May you live to be 100, and I live to be 100 minus a day, so I would never know that beautiful people like you had passed away." Until next time, take care, be well, and continue to rock real. Thank you for checking out Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next show.